haven't finished it yet, or if you don't want to hear about what happens in the game, as much as I'd like you to listen, I wouldn't do it if I were you. We're going to ruin it. At least what we've played so far. I think I'll just go around very quickly. I've played it through twice. Pete, how many times have you played through?
Yeah, twice. Yeah,
twice. Ian,
once,
and Ross.
Once for me just now.
Cool. So I think from our brief discussion we've had prior to the recording, we've all sort of got different takes on the story and the different outcomes, etc., etc. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? Should we give a quick rundown of what the Dark Pictures at games are, in case anyone's unfamiliar with the series?
Yeah.
Why don't we? Yes.
Go for it, Pro.
Why don't we? Ian, go for it. Knock yourself out.
So the first title, well, technically, if we don't count the prequel of the Dark Pictures, it'll probably be Until Dawn.
Yes.
That's what started it all. And then the first Dark Pictures was Man of Medan. The second one was A Little Hope. And then the third one was House of Ashes. And then we've got the fourth one, which is coming next year, probably. Well, I can't see it come out this year. So it has to be next year. Yeah. It's Devil in Me.
In Me, not on me.
Not on me. Devil on Me is a whole new case.
That's one that Dan will be covering.
Yeah, but would you rather have the devil on you or in you? I mean, it's
6 of one, half a dozen, isn't it?
Yeah, neither exactly. Scenario is optimal.
Depends whether it's a weekend or not. So
depends who's got underwear on or not.
He's got no knickers. We can.
We all know the devil wears Prada, so you know.
Yes, we can talk about that trailer very briefly at the end, I think. But we're getting to the spoilers right now. So this is, as you said, Ian, House of Ashes. So this one is set in Iraq in 2003, when the Iraq War has sort of started to really
peak.
Kick off. So I'll just read this very brief synopsis here. So it's 2003 Iraq War, where they follows people there, say, stalked and hunted by monsters awoken by the chaos. The 5 characters include CIA officer Rachel King, who's played by Ashley Tisdale. Her husband, which is a very early spoiler because it's sort of revealed as he lands. It's her husband, Eric King, who's played by Alex Gravenstein.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right. USMC Force Recon, Jason Kolchek, who is Paul Zeno, Sergeant Nick Kay, Mo Judy Lamore, something like that, and Iraqi Republican Guard Salim Othman, which is a lad named Nick Tarabay. So as with the other Dark Pictures games, you take the 5 characters and you switch between their perspectives throughout the entire game, assuming they're still alive, of course, and you make decisions, dialogue decisions and action decisions, and then you just try and see who you can get to the end in one piece. Or not, if that's what floats your boat. So, gentlemen, let's quick round table before we get into it properly. Where would you rank this out of the 3? Well, out of the 4, let's include Until Dawn because that's really in the same sort of genre. Where would you rank this one in the 4? While you think about it, I've already know mine, so I'll go very quickly. I would put this just below Man of Medan, but just above Until Dawn, I think, and then with Little Hope at the end.
So I am.
It's very close.
I'm only one difference for you, Jay. I am Man of Medan, Until Dawn, this one, and then Little Hope.
Yeah. Ian?
I will probably go Until Dawn, this one, Man of Medan, Little Hope.
And special guest Pete.
Just a curveball. I wasn't expecting you to put Until Dawn in there, but I love that. I must have played through that 3 or 4 times. It was amazing, that one.
That was a great game.
Because the jump scares were actual jump scares, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I couldn't really pick out of Until Dawn, Man of Medan, and House of Ashes. No, because they're all different in their own ways, but they're all excellent in their own ways. Little Hope's just lagging behind a little bit. If I had to pick one, probably Until Dawn, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there.
The reason I put Man of Medan at top ahead of sort of the other ones is, as you were saying, Pete, the jump scares are what makes Until Dawn so great. But I always feel like a psychological horror, something that's playing up in here, is much worse than something just jumping up in front of you. And I feel like Man of Medan hit the nail on the head with that one perfectly. They
really did that. Yeah. That was the quote unquote, again, we're going to spoil it all here, so good luck, everybody. The twist where, you know, it was, as you said, all up here.
Yeah.
And it was all the gas and
yeah,
it
exactly.
Was all, what I liked about Man of Medan, as you alluded to, is you could have two players playing together or two characters, but they would be seeing completely different things because they were affected by the gas.
Yeah.
Whereas in House of Ashes, it's a more
it's the physical,
it's
supernatural, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just
What's
what's
that whole
right in
point?
front of
Which
you,
I'm sure
that's
we'll
it.
get to, because it's not really, in a way, it's not actually super. Now, if you've seen the Rachel scene, it's not actually really supernatural now, is it?
No.
Technically.
True. It's but it's more like sci-fi.
Out
I
there.
guess, would be right.
Yeah, more sci-fi, yeah.
But yeah, so let's start at the beginning. We'll rattle through it. We won't take too long going through scene by scene because again, we've all got different sort of playthroughs.
Don't forget the prequel bit.
The prequel bit. Why don't you tell us about the prequel bit, Pete? Special guest Pete. All right, fine. Don't tell us about the prequel bit.
Well, I mean, the first scene is obviously when they're in the city called is it Akkad? It's set in 2231 BC.
Yeah.
And the Arcadians were at war with is it Gutians or Gutians? Can't remember how you pronounce that. But you're kind of following around Balafu, who's kind of this guard, and the prisoner Karum. And yeah, the eclipse happens, and then all of a sudden, shit hits the fan. And then, of course, that's where you first. Obviously, the prequel in all these games always teaches you the controls, the decisions of what you can do and what you can't do, and it prepares you with like throwing the spear in House of Ashes, just sets it up nicely. Then, of course, you get into the real scene. But
I mean, they didn't fuck around with that bit, as you said, throwing the spear, and then when he drops down and fucking chops her head off and lobs it up onto the stage, they were like, right, this is going to be violent.
Thing is, I was like, right, let's not do anything rash. She might just be an innocent lassie, so let's not throw the spear. I said, right, so we'll do the good choice here. And then the guard just rocks up behind them and goes, whoa! What the fuck?
Okay, yeah, so I was going to ask if anyone didn't throw the spear, because I threw it both times.
Yeah, I threw it both. I threw my time as well, yeah.
I was like, well, that was a fucking waste of time, wasn't it?
I was going to say, I think this is the first pre-game bit that actually affects the end game as well. Like, depending on who survives out of Balafu and Karum, depending on who dies at that well first, the other one obviously comes back at the end.
I take it that's all it is that's different. It's not like if you save one or the other, they're not a bad guy or something like that. Because I always saved the soldier, the guard, sorry. Or he didn't die first, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say they both still died, didn't they? But just one before the other.
Yeah. Like when I play with Jay, I mess up the QTE and my character died first, and then it ended up with the prisoner being the guy that you see more during the game. Yeah. Whereas when I played my own, I made sure that Balafu survived, and he was obviously the main guy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, in my one, Balafu was the main guy. I never saw the other guy.
No, that was the same. Like he got sort of owned right off the bat, and then it was just the Arcadian that came back at the end of the game or in the game.
Yeah, you say because that was the one that stalks you later on, isn't it? He sort of comes back as a vampire. Spoiler again, vampires. But the other one, it was kind of like still half alive, wasn't he, in a corner somewhere with half his face melted off? Did you find him? You must have found him.
I found him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we all did, because that's how they know how to cure Rachel, isn't it?
Yeah. Ross looks very confused. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
It's what happens there, because she never got infected in my one.
What? That's an option?
Yeah.
This is where we're going.
Yeah, because I think
because it gone.
Yeah, I remember the bit is that obviously like there was a quick time event type idea that you could. Yeah, because there was a part in the game where like you could heal Salim or you could heal the other guy, and then there was another bit where it was like somebody got pinned down, quick time event to rescue them. Then Rachel got pinned down, quick time event. Yeah, I remember it now.
Yeah, that was a choice. So you're playing as Salim, I think, and you can either throw it at the vampire jumping at you, or throw it at the vampire and Rachel to save her.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens if you throw it at the vampire on Rachel.
Oh, that's what I did.
I assume Salim gets out of it somehow.
Yeah, so I threw it at the one that was coming for me, and then Rachel got bit.
No.
Yeah.
So I threw mine at the one that was on Rachel,
Yeah.
and then what happens is Salim just gets kicked away, and then he gets knocked back, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
So
Finn gets injured as well but then he gets pinned down and injured on the chest, and then he still kills the person.
Yeah.
With a spear.
That's what happened on mine. Your playthrough, Jay.
Yes. Now you say
I aimed for the one that was going for Rachel, and on my solo playthrough, I went for the one that was going for Salim.
Yeah.
Salim.
Right.
Yeah. So we're getting ahead of ourselves. That's obviously towards the end of the game.
Get too excited.
I mean, it's such a great game. It's after the prequel bit, like you said, with the two sort of historical characters, we end up meeting Rachel and Eric and Nick and I've forgotten his fucking name already. Jason, thank you.
Jason.
And I thought that all four of them, although I agree with what you were saying earlier on, Ian, about not liking them necessarily, I thought they were all really well-rounded characters. They were really interesting to sort of their interaction with each other and to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think because obviously they're soldiers, they're meant to be a bit of a dick.
Yeah.
So they kind of played it quite well. There wasn't really, and the same thing, like with Rachel, she'd be a bitch at the start with, but then you understand, as a woman in the military,
it must be
you've
hard
got to be that kind of character. You can't be, oh hello, oh love me so much.
What do they call her? Queen bitch face.
Queen bitch.
Queen bitch. Yeah.
Who was it?
He's like, that's my wife.
Nick was the Marine, wasn't he?
Jason's the White Marine, and Nick's the one that was having a relationship with Rachel.
So Nick, I had no issues with throughout the whole game. So Nick was neither up nor down for me. I was quite fine with him. Eric's a cunt, and I quite happily seen him have his face ripped off.
The
other guy was
Jason.
He needed that looked at. He was a few sandwiches short at a picnic.
I keep getting Jason and Nick mixed up.
Yeah.
Just to refresh my memory once more again. So Jason was the white guy, wasn't it?
Jason's white, Nick back.
Yeah. So with the baseball cap, I quite liked him, especially towards the end.
Towards the end, and at the start, I didn't like him.
I was going to suggest maybe a bit later on that we maybe do a little tier list for ourselves.
Yeah.
Now I like a question. I was like, we should rank each character, like who was our worst, and then we go up to number one.
Towards the end,
how different our list is.
Towards the end, they certainly had redeeming features, but for 80% of the game, he was a bit screwless.
See, I love Jason all the way through. I loved him.
Yeah, I did Marine attitude, but he definitely become one of my favorites. But yeah, we'll get to that, Pete. We'll get to the list of our favorite characters. I've got a feeling I know he's going to be at the bottom. But yeah, so we meet them. We're at the base in Iraq, and they're talking about this. I forget the name of the program that Eric's developed. It supposedly can develop. Detect underground weapons manufacturing plants. So we end up going to a hillside in the Iraqi countryside, where there's farmers on top, and they reckon there's a weapons base underneath. And then they get attacked by Iraqi soldiers, which includes Salim.
Yep.
And then in the middle of that fight, the ground opens up. They fall in. They all get separated, and then we find it's not a weapons bunker, but it's actually the thing from the prequel, the temple from the prequel section, with all sorts of batshit crazy shit going on, including lots of monsters and vampires and the what's her name? Is it Clarice.
Yeah.
He gets snapped up pretty quickly by one of the vampires, and Pete, you remember his name because he was my favorite character of all of them. The guy, Merwin. There we go. What a fucking legend! He didn't take notice, did he? No, I was quite gutted we didn't get to play as him because he was fucking awesome.
He was. It was the thing that wasn't. I called it really early on, didn't I? Obviously, we got to meet Eric. He got his description. We got to see Jason. Got to see his description. Clarice. Or you're gonna die and get she
got no description.
Merwin's expendable.
So yes, they fall in. They eventually sort of regroup a little bit. They find Merwin strung up from barbed wire and stuff.
Yeah,
he's in a bad way.
I don't get how he's. I don't get how he's so cut up and just. I don't know.
I don't know where the barbed wire come from because I didn't see any barbed wire.
It wasn't barbed wire. It was just rope.
I'm thinking it was like the fencing.
It's like wire. It was like fencing wire.
Yeah, but I mean the fencing that was from the farm has caved in. He's caved up and he's obviously dropped and it's pulled him right through and it's ripped him to shreds.
If it's barbed wire, then fair enough. But I don't think normal rope would have that. You'd have a lot of obviously rope burn, maybe,
but not.
I suppose it was also quite a big fall, I suppose, wasn't it? But we can suspend disbelief because there's vampires up here pretty shortly after this.
Yes.
And then, we cut him down. We're dragging him in. I want to check with everybody. You say all the main characters survived for some of you and some didn't. Did he survive?
Who?
Merwin.
No.
He dies anyway,
at that very beginning bit.
Yeah.
He's.
I think when you're trying to keep him silent.
Oh yeah, no, I killed him.
What about you, Ross? Did you strangle him?
No, I like. Well, yeah, I don't think. Do you get a choice no matter?
Because he's like you're dragging him along.
You're sort of
he's screaming out in pain. Yeah, and you play as again. I forget which one's which, Jason or Nick, whichever one it was.
But you don't get an option to let him go.
You do. You just don't press the button.
Stop. Just push the buttons.
Because the first time when I played it, I did that bit on my own before I played with Pete. And I was like hammering the button, like stay quiet, and he's like, "You're killing him." I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm telling him to stay quiet."
Yeah, so I was like,
"Oh shit."
See, I wasn't in control at that point, so it was out of my control for that part. But yeah, that was
yeah. So you can, you can not like keep him quiet, and he survives till right at the very end of the game, where he fixes the radio that you find.
Oh, really?
But if he's dead, obviously, you don't get to fix the
radio.
radio.
They get shot anyway. So
yeah, he still dies, but he is much later on. And he was, like I said, he was my favorite character out of all. He was fucking awesome.
He was great, Merwin. He was,
No shit, Merwin, yeah. Go on in, sorry.
The thing is, though, Merwin does, in the end, if you think about if you go forward quite a bit in time, obviously spoiling the end, it's a whole spoiler cast, it does fuck up Salim, doesn't it? If he stays alive.
What does it? How does it fuck up Salim?
It does. Because he fixes the radio. Oh, sorry.
Because he fixes the radio, and therefore the radio gets called for air support. Then at the end, the air support's already there and captures Salim. Whereas if there's no air support, what happened in my playthrough, he's fine. He gets walk away into
he gets taken as a prisoner of war, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So at the start, did we all select no air support?
I did, yeah.
On mine, Jason did, but on my solo one, I clicked air support.
See, I didn't have air support, so.
Yeah, I went all silent.
Yeah, so yes, if you either pick air support or, like I said, if you pick the radio, then Salim ends up getting captured and interrogated right in that very end cutscene, which we'll obviously get to. So yeah, and then from there, again, we're not going to go scene by scene because it's the longest one by far in it. This game, about 5 to 6 hours.
6 hours.
5 hours it took me, yeah.
But I think even though I still prefer Man of Medan, why I prefer this one, why I gave it a higher score, I should say, on the review, was because it's a better game, I think, overall. The scenes flow together a lot better. The characters, I think, were more or less a lot better. Except
I think making it a little bit longer as well feels like a proper game, a proper movie. Like one where obviously, I know you guys did it in one night, but I didn't maybe with 2 or 3 playthroughs. Whereas Man of Medan, I could easily done in one evening.
Yeah. And also the chapters were long because I think usually you curate one thing once in the middle and then once before the
no, it was
chapter.
2 times in the middle.
Yeah, whereas I think in the other games, I think you see it at least 3 times. I think.
Yeah, Man of Medan.
I think the chapters were a lot longer.
Yeah.
You only see him a couple of times in this one. I was shocked at how little he was in it. What I found
there
as
was
well, though,
one
what they done was, did you not notice there was a lot of times where it was like Rachel in control, and then Salim, and then Ashley, and then it bounced between them like really quickly.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was during like a big chaotic scene, but it was like bouncing between people really fast.
Did you play on your own? Sorry, Ross. Did you play with someone else?
I done a movie night, so
right. Okay.
It was like couch co-op.
Right.
See,
okay.
I found that it was less jump between people than Little Hope. Little Hope did that so many times. Whereas for House of Usher, I only did it a couple of times where it will kind of zoom in and go to someone else. Yeah, exactly. Whereas Little Hope did that so many fucking times. Like, fucking hell, I'm just running through the woods here and it's like switching between characters. Like one character runs, surely the other one's running behind me. Like, nope, you've got to run both of the characters. Like, okay.
Yeah. So, but I think aside from maybe 1 or 2 scenes, there's only really 2 characters at a time as well, isn't there? So if you are playing in co-op, you're generally together. Although I did find, I forget exactly the scenes, but there's definitely a few times where we were separate, weren't there? Where you were walking through one bit and you were telling me what was going on. I was like, what are you on about? I can't see any of that. But not.
So you had solo playthroughs separately, like when they're not together.
Well, there's a couple of times where the rocks come down, isn't it? And you're on the other side of the wall, and you're just, Yeah.
But there was.
Go on.
Go on.
I say, what I was curious about in your play again, we're jumping far ahead again now. When Ashley was on her own, right down the bottom, what was the other person doing?
Well, that I was probably Eric at that point because I didn't know. Obviously, I just presumed she was dead.
Nah, see,
I didn't
knew
actually
she
know
wasn't.
Jay was playing. I didn't know Jay was playing as her. I'm guessing that I was the Eric scene straight after that. Although no, sorry,
okay.
sorry, Eric died in one, didn't he?
Yeah, I think you were Jason or Nick.
Because
whichever
I
character you
missaw the
control.
premonition. I thought the premonition was Rachel falling, getting impaled, but it was actually Eric. So I was trying to be a hero and I didn't cut the rope. I was like, oh shit, I got impaled. So that's how Eric died on one of Jay's playthrough. I was trying to be a hero.
See, in my playthrough, I never cut the rope and he survived.
Same.
See,
I never cut the rope either.
Yeah. Hit the rope, just broke, and then
Ashley fell, but I knew Ashley wasn't dead. No, Ashley.
Oh, it's obvious.
Rachel.
They didn't do
Rachel.
Rachel.
Yeah. They done that, but they also had it was pretty much back to the whole. They did the exact same with Until Dawn. Not exactly the same with Until Dawn, but obviously the whole story with Until Dawn was the sisters fell off the cliff at the start.
Yeah.
One of them died on impact, but the other one survived for X amount of time and then started consuming human flesh and blah 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 blah. But they did a very same thing. It was like, oh, I fell off, but you never seen her die.
Yeah.
Same with Clarice. She never. You see her getting yanked away, but you never actually see her die. So I knew she was going to show up at some point. I just didn't expect it to be fucking in the pits.
I was going to say, and it was later as well, wasn't it? When, like I said, when Rachel's down in fucking covered in blood and walking through all the bodies and that, and then she's not in a good way.
No.
And then again,
I did not like that water bit when you can see the water bubbling. Like, for fuck's sake.
I said to Pete, I think the only jump scare that got me was when you're wading through that water and the blood and what have you. There's like something swimming just in front of you and you can follow it. And if you follow it down the corridor, your light turns off. And I was like, I know something's going to fucking jump up.
Wait.
The light come back on and nothing jumped up. And I was like, it's obviously going to do it again. And light went off. Yeah, here we go. And it come back on. It popped up and it still fucking made me jump.
The thing is, why would you be stupid enough to go following the fucking thing?
Oh, yeah, I saw it. As soon as I saw that, I was like,
I'm going that way.
I'm out.
I'm walking
I'll get
that way.
this water quickly.
I didn't see it the first time.
Because there's not a bit where
I want to see what happened.
Is there not a bit where it's like a big central bit and there's like a big totem on the middle of it and it's like the water goes or the blood goes either side of it? And like the bubbles were on the left hand side. I was like, nope, I'm going all the way around.
That's what I did.
I wanted to see if I could kill her by doing that, but no.
I don't care if it's going to take me an extra 10 minutes to go round to the right. I'm fucking going that way.
Yeah, I was same. I was like, I'm out of it.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Jay would be the guy in the horror movie that would be like the first one dead. I was like, oh, what's that over there?
Yeah, we got to explore these things, didn't we? You know, you can't miss out.
I was gutted. I missed that scene, to be honest. When I played it by myself, I loved that scene, the blood pit scene, as I call it. I thought that was really good.
Well, see, actually, I think that's why I'm getting a lot more enjoyment out of playing it in movie night mode, other than director's mode, where you're playing it co-op and one person's experiencing one person's experiencing the other. Because that's how I played through Man of Medan. And the only thing that I would say about playing it like that is it does make your playthrough a bit scarier, because obviously you could be walking. I've said this on the podcast a couple of times. You can be walking in a well-lit room with massive big open areas, so there's nothing that can jump out at you. And all of a sudden, you've got your partner on the headset screaming holy murder, and you're like, what the fuck was that? So it
kind of warns you a bit as well.
Yeah, it makes you feel scared, like more scared, because you're more on edge about what's happening on their game. But you miss out on so many things. So
I don't think it's one game you have to play on your own first, and then maybe do the movie nights or the co-op.
Yeah, and also I know we're gonna get to characters a bit later, but obviously playing it by myself, I actually fell in love with Salim a lot more. See, when me and Jay were playing like that, I hardly saw Salim. I only saw him in a couple of scenes. I thought it was right, but I was like, But then when I got to play him with me, I was like, oh, I like
you make him yourself, don't you? Make all these characters how you want to make those characters.
Yeah,
I think when we played together as well, they did a lot better job of mixing it up. So I think like Man, Medan, and Little Hope and that, you tended to have like these two characters you mainly play as, and these two characters the other player. But this time it was a lot more mixed up. So I would play as Jason one scene, and then Pete would play as him the next scene while I played someone else, and then mix it up. So it wasn't just one person making the decisions for everybody.
When we played together, I don't remember controlling Salim or Rachel. I controlled the other three, but I don't remember controlling the other two.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you must have done at some point. I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure I did. If it was very, very.
Yeah, I'm sure I had a couple, all of them, but there was a couple that were very brief.
Because even at the end, when it was Jason and Salim together, I was Jason, you were Salim.
Yeah, and what a man that was. What a fucking that last bit. Again, we'll get to it in a bit, but
Yeah.
that was fucking awesome. Those last sort of half hour or so.
That last bit where you discover it's not a supernatural and it's sci-fi. I'm curious to have quite a bit, because you could go a lot of different ways with that.
Yes.
So who got infected? Was it just you and Pete?
Yeah, Rachel got infected for me.
You got infected.
Yeah.
But on mine, Jay's playthrough, Rachel wasn't infected. But on my solo playthrough, I got her infected.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's a few things that happen with her when she's affected. So what actually happens? Because obviously I haven't seen the infected side of things, but there's loads of different things that could happen with her.
There is actually, because go on, you go first.
So I was going to say, so what happened in mine is, I'm trying to remember. So they eventually got to the point where they find out what's caused what's happening, and they come across a guy later on in the game, the Gutian, that's half preserved, half not preserved. So they try and put like the slime stuff to think that might work and save her. But what eventually happens is Eric gets the UV gun and sort of holds it against her to try and like encourage the thing to come, if
Eric is still alive.
If Eric's still alive, to encourage the parasite to come out of her.
So
and
did that happen for you and Pete? Was that right?
Yeah.
You used the UV gun.
Yeah, this is where I know you got a different thing.
I didn't have Eric because he died because Salim shot him in the face.
In fairness, Eric fucking deserved it. Eric was a dick.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't overly heartbroken other than the fact that, for fuck's sake, he died last time as well. I want to see what happens if he stays alive.
If you look into it, Eric's got the most ways to die out of every character. He can die so many times.
It's because he's a dick.
Yeah,
he's basically the Kenny of
I want to get into the relationships because I think it's quite interesting. But the Rachel is still infected. Eric's not there because he got shot in the face. They end up taking her back to where that guy you said Ross was in half preserved.
Yeah.
And they dunk her in, and she basically gets preserved in that goo, whatever it is.
Like a cocoon kind of thing.
Yeah.
So see, we never got to that.
Everybody else escapes. The end scene happens, blah 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 blah, and then when you're watching the very final cutscene, they go, and what about Rachel King? And we got in there, we extracted her, we got the virus out, and because she was preserved, she survived, and you see them wheeling her past the guys that are talking.
Okay.
So she still survives.
She still survived. If you choose to preserve her, you can choose to kill her or you can choose to leave her behind, I think. But I chose to try and preserve her to see what would happen.
Oh, that's fine. At least she survives, and that'd been quite good to have seen it doing that way as well.
Yeah, because I saw the premonition about the UV one, but again, Eric.
See, I never got that. I never got the premonition.
That's the only premonition I missed.
I never got that one. I think I missed 3 premonitions in total.
I missed one, so that's the one I don't recommend.
Yeah, because I don't recognise that at all in any way, shape or form, so that must be one of the ones I missed.
There's also another kind of a bit of a secret ending, I guess, with Jason, because there's a QTE near the end where you're going with Salim through the cocoons, and there's a QTE where you got to jump out of the way of the cocoon, and I missed it, and Jason inhaled the green gas, and then from then on till the end of the game, he's coughing and coughing. So he's actually infected. Well, you'd imagine he's infected because he's got the gas. So yeah, nothing plays out different towards the end. He's just infected. Obviously, you don't see anything play out, but it's an interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I never had an option for. There was no scenes like dodging a cocoon in my one. But
you would have seen it because it's when Jason and Salim are at the end, near the end.
Isn't that where they touch it and it starts to crumble and that, and then you got to press
yeah.
Oh, you got to jump back, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was dozed off. Oh shit, missed it.
So talking about the end part there. So obviously there's the bit where I forgot his name. Nick is down doing his shit with the explosives, and then like you get a part where it's like you're there, and it's like stay longer and plant more explosives or get to safety.
What did you guys do?
I said get to safety.
I went forward.
Well, see,
you're a coward, Ross.
Both times went forward.
But once again, I wasn't in control. So
your missus is a coward, Ross.
So no, she didn't decide. She just stayed neutral, and then it went to get out. What happens if you push forward? Because that's at the bit where Billy Big Boss for the the sort of prelogue, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Is stalking you.
Yeah, he's stalking you. Yeah.
So that then leads.
So-
I'm imagining that leads to the premonition of the spear getting thrown and taken, because there's a bit where he's got you choking.
Snap his
And
neck. Yeah.
that's how you get your neck snapped.
Yeah.
So what happened in my playthrough, which I think happens for most people, might be different for Jay and Pete, but if you go forward, you start planting bombs, you've got a quick time event, which you just keep doing where you stay silent. If you fuck up the quick time event, the demons kill you.
Oh, the demons kill you. All right, okay.
Yeah. If you don't fuck up the quick time event, you get through, you do it all successfully, and then the guy from the beginning of the game, what's his name? Family? What his name is?
Yeah. Dave.
Balafu, he comes and attacks you, and then everyone else comes and saves you, basically comes in all at once and then attacks him and then takes him out basically, and he's gone from the game for good.
Not before Nick set up those explosives.
And obviously sets them all off.
Because they all think he's died in an explosion, don't they?
That's it. Like, another thing that happened, which I forgot to mention, was he says help on the radio.
Yeah.
And Cockface listens and hears it. Now apparently if Cockface doesn't like Nick,
you on about Eric, yeah?
Eric, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I haven't seen this because again, Eric got shot in the face. Carry on.
Yeah. So if Eric doesn't like Nick because of the situation with him and his missus, he will ignore the video, he will ignore the voice message and just continue forward and make him stay there for good and not get attacked. I don't know what happens after that, if they can find out or he comes back.
So I'm presuming that
if he hears it.
That must be this cutscene that then leads to him getting his...
Which I imagine him dying there is because he hasn't got anyone to save him.
Yeah.
I think you do a quick time event and he just dies anyway.
Yeah.
But obviously if Cockface Eric is good friends with him, he goes, oh, he's alive, and they go and
because the other two to get the phone call, didn't they, Jason? And he's like, because when the explosion goes off and he gets knocked down, and he's like, I'm still here, but I'm down, and he gives some sort of military.
Like 200 meters.
Like, how do you know these fucking coordinates? Like, it's an underground vampire base. Like,
exactly, 200 meters this way.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And then, like you said, matey comes up, picks him up, and he's strangling him. But then is it Salim stabs him through the heart like he does the rest of the vampires, kills him.
And then Eric puts his wand, and then he goes back a bit, and then something horrible happens. Then I think they get a shot, and then something takes him out again. Yeah. And then apparently he comes at the end of the game as well. If you don't do that, doesn't he?
Who's this?
I don't know. Again, I haven't seen it with Eric, so I'm not sure.
So who's this?
I imagine if you retreat, he'll come at you at the rope bit. I imagine. You're climbing up,
or maybe he'll jump in that little hut at the end as well.
Wait, back up. He does.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't, because obviously I turned away, so I didn't ever have any dealings with him. So when you're back up in the house and obviously the eclipse comes over and they fucking start pouring out the ground.
Yeah.
He emerges.
Ah, nice.
So you then have to take him out in the hut. And what happens is, what basically happens in the hut is you're fighting, waiting for the eclipse to pass over, and I can't remember exactly what it is that wipes him out, but he gets owned.
Sun?
No, I don't think he's even. I think he's dead before the sun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he'll get yeah.
I can't remember what it is that kills him, because what happens is basically the sun starts to emerge and the vampires click that the sun's starting to emerge and they all start panicking and running out.
Panicking and get back down. Some of them get caught on fire and shit.
Yeah, he's already pan-breed by then.
Yeah.
So I can't remember exactly what it is, but he does emerge at the end to come and try and kick your ass.
See, so what I'm learning so far is that basically everybody's playthrough, even though we all had roughly the same sort of characters and stuff, it's all different. I wanted to get back to the relationships because obviously the games always track like 3 or 4 different stats for each character, didn't they? Like how much Eric likes Nick and how much Eric likes Jason, etc.
Yep.
And different actions and stuff. Because when myself and Pete played, as he said, I was playing as Salim, so I didn't shoot Eric in the face because I'm not a monster, even though Eric deserved it. But when I played on my own,
you did.
I wasn't playing as Salim. That was just the AI like taking control of it, and I had no way of stopping.
Well, Eric was still not playthrough by that point. Remember, it was Jason and Nick.
Oh, sorry, I didn't shoot Jason. Sorry,
yeah.
Yes, but yeah, in my single playthrough, I had no way of stopping him because he just decided to shoot Eric because of the relationship. It was obviously that way inclined, I guess. But then you said, what did you say a minute ago? It reminded me of the relationship thing. Someone saves someone. Nick,
Eric, save Nick.
Nick at the end. So did
because
anybody else
pulled up, wasn't he?
Yeah. Did anybody else have anything different that they think was affected by the relationships at all?
See, my relationships were nearly all positive. Like I managed.
Yeah, I think that's what my one.
I managed to keep them all pretty equal. So obviously there was the whole thing with Jason and Salim, how they two sort of clashed a wee bit, and then towards the end of it, Jason was like,
"Hoorah!"
Basically, we're both Marines, so they had a positive outcome. I didn't have any of the issues with Eric, with Nick, because even when it came to the bit where they were in the bit where the old archaeologists were, where Nick's like, Nick's like, look, this is the time to tell him. Just hurry up and tell him, get it over and done with. There's no point of dragging this out anymore. And he's like, yeah, I already know because the lighter scenario came up. So that was like, Rachel was like, I'm sorry, Eric, it's done. It's been done since you left. End of story. We've only just started being recently, so it's not like a rebound thing, blah, 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 blah. So as much as as Eric wasn't happy about the scenario, he didn't have any negative feelings towards Nick. Yeah. So everybody in my thing was sort of on positive terms. So I think that's how I managed to, obviously I saved everybody in my playthrough, so.
Yeah.
See, when me and Jay played through, I didn't know straight away that Nick and Rachel were involved because Jay played through that scene while I was doing another scene. So I didn't realise it was Nick that was actually dating Rachel, as it were.
See, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, and then Jay was being purposely a dick. I was like, why are you trying to break Eric and Rachel up? I was like, they're a couple. And it's like, you dirty bastard.
I was playing Rachel as a proper dick because... he was like, I noticed you got your ring. You haven't got your ring on, and I was like, "Yeah, it's because I don't love you."
that was my response. I was like, "Yeah."
I was trying to do the same thing. I was like, "Well, fuck you."
It's like
if someone else.
If I'm not wearing it, there's a reason for it. Fucking deal with it.
See, on my solo playthrough, I actually made Eric and Rachel get back together.
I was gonna say, I presume that was an option.
Can you do that then?
Yeah. You just make them nice, and they get there's a nice romping sex scene. I'm joking. Down the vampire.
With a vampire and Rachel.
It's like, wait a minute, wait, we're just finishing a quickie, and then you can come in and do what you need to do. But just now, just wait.
Yeah. So they can get back together, and then obviously Nick just mopes.
There was one early decision, I think, because when we first see Rachel and Nick, they're kind of banging on the desk, aren't they? And then she's like, "Shit, my husband's here."
Oh yeah.
I think I can't remember the exact wording, but it was something like, "Are you going to tell him?" And she was like, "It was either I'll tell him later, or can we leave it for now?"
Yeah, put it on hold.
Yeah, I said, "Yeah, put it on hold. That's it." And so I said, "I'll put it on hold." I thought maybe we'll get back to it later, and then she was like, "Oh yeah, but put it on hold. We're gonna break up. I can't do it." So I know, just wanted to know. And that just completely stiffed that fucking relationship to start with. So yeah, that was the only one I think that was really.
So you royally fucked it.
Didn't match up with what I wanted, what I expected to happen. The rest of them, I thought all the decisions were pretty good, and were pretty clear with what you're gonna choose.
I feel this tile definitely pushed you more of doing nothing. There was a few times I was like 2 questions. I was like, I'm not going to fucking say any of these answers.
Yeah,
I noticed that as well. Silence.
It's very true. All previous 3 games, you've always felt compelled to do one option or the other.
I think we said that
this game.
We said that in the podcast that there was a do nothing option, and we're like, why would you just do nothing?
A bit like the Telltale games, like sometimes say nothing is actually the right way to go.
Yeah, a bit like the whole thing, the guy dying. If you do nothing,
it's like right at the beginning when you're Jason and the prisoner spits on Rachel, and you can either hit him or slap him. Whereas it's actually better if you just do nothing.
Yeah. Because I felt that at the start when I did that, because I hit him. I thought, okay, this is okay. Oh, she got really pissed off. And then later on the scene where Jason is about to shoot one of the Iraqi soldiers, I was like, I'm not going to shoot him, so I just left him and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then Slim was behind you and he's really happy that he didn't do anything.
Yeah, that was a bit. I was like, just don't shoot him. And then Salim was obviously seen the fact that he didn't shoot him, and that was like, so it is.
Yeah.
For if emphasize when I did, like, okay, maybe I need to start doing nothing, and I still killed the other guy down in the hut anyway.
So obviously, you guys haven't played it in co-op necessarily, but when me and Pete played that bit, I think was it you, Pete, that was shooting at the Iraqi this farmer?
Yeah,
that
it was a
going away?
civilian was running away, and I was Nick.
And I had control of Salim, and I could have shot you in the back, or
Yeah.
at least it gave me the option to shoot you. I didn't shoot you, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if you can actually kill Jason at that point, or if you just hurt him or something. But yeah, it took me a long time to decide whether I wanted to shoot him or not. I was like,
quite
it's a bit early
to
to start killing people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that was an option or not. I would like.
I'll have to play through it just to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do it again. But yeah.
So as we've got a wee bit left just before we go, and we've still got to talk about that ending cutscene that we've seen right at the very end. Rounding up on House of Ashes tier list. Where do we put the characters?
So let's start at the bottom, shall we? Who was the worst?
Yeah, so let's go round it.
And why is it Eric?
Are we just doing the main five?
I think we all know it's Eric.
Main five,
right?
yeah.
Main
so
five. I think we're all pretty much unanimous. Eric's bottom of the list.
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah, well, he's
because the reason I made him get back together with Rachel was to see if he got any better, but he didn't.
He doesn't. He's still a dick.
He was still hard.
So Eric's bottom. So who would we say was number 4?
For me, Nick.
Which was Nick's black guy, yeah?
Yeah, Nick's the black guy. Yep.
I would say Jason.
I would put Rachel at the next.
I would have Rachel
After
4th.
Really? Okay.
Interesting. Why is that?
She disappears out of the game for a big chunk of it as well, so that doesn't help her character development.
Yeah.
And it's just she's not that interesting.
Yeah.
She's not up, she's not down. She's just.
Even though, as I said earlier on, all the scenes I think played together really well, like depending on your choice, and that it didn't feel like a lot of separate scenes to stitch together. Her reactions sometimes were just completely fucking. She'd be like, as you said, Queen Bitch. I got to be a bitch because that's just how I can, get control. And she's like, yeah, but sometimes I just no, like you were on a roll, and it just didn't quite pan out quite very well.
Yeah, no.
I think Rachel was the next one, Eric.
I had to go Nick because I wasn't particularly. It was all right in our playthrough, Jay, but as soon in my solo playthrough, he was such a mopey little dick, and I was like, no, I don't.
He does moan a lot, but then he did the whole heroic thing with the mob.
Yeah, like I said, he's all right, but I just didn't like him in the end.
I know. Yeah, I guess maybe you're right. Maybe Nick should be 4. Because Jason, you do warm to Jason towards the end, especially his relationship with Slim. If you make them on good terms, he actually is quite a nice guy. But I still don't think he's worse than Rachel. So maybe White Pete was.
So number 3, I went Rachel. She was my number 3. I liked her, but not enough to dethrone either.
I would put Jason for 3.
I'll put Jason. I'm keeping Rachel.
I'd be Nick for that one.
Oh, so we've got different ones there for number 3 then.
Yeah, I would put Jason 3rd because as much as Jason he redeems himself, he's still he's a bit.
He's got a few screws loose.
Yeah, he's not the type of guy that you would want to be like relying on.
Mm-hmm. And he's also he is a bit of a dick to Nick as well, even though the whole suicide bomber.
Yeah,
killing, not fake suicide bomber. That wasn't a bomb.
Yeah, like obviously your options are very limited in what you can say to Nick at that point. So you kind of have to drive the narrative like that. But he's like, mate, fucking get over it. It's like, no, I get that your job there is to obviously protect the base and shit like that, and you didn't know. But you can understand why somebody would be fucking cut up when she's walking home and all she's got in her bag is fucking 2 packets of apples and Pop-Tarts.
Yeah. It's almost as if Nick isn't mentally ready to be a Marine.
Well,
yeah.
If Jason is like the pedestal Marine guy.
Yeah, Nick's nowhere near that.
Well, obviously something's happening that obviously that affects them. That not suicide bomber wasn't one. Because it was because of Jason that happened.
Yeah, because Jason obviously gave him the order, and Nick fucking had to kill an innocent civilian.
Yeah,
which will fuck anybody up if they're wired properly.
But then when you probe with Jason, you find out that Nick didn't really have a choice. He kind of had to, because he gave her warnings and nothing happened, and then she moved. So you kind of feel like...
and then Jason gave the kill order, and that's what did it. And then
yeah.
But then you also find out if you probe with Jason later on. I think with Salim, you find that although he's got like the twin towers on his hat and he like plays the big hard American soldier, he's actually like he's actually not sure. He doesn't want to be there really. He joined up because he thought he had to. He didn't want to join up.
And the thing is, he acts all the big patriot and the fucking hoorah and shit like that. But you find out that the day that the twin towers happened, he was stoned at his face. Yeah. And didn't even realise it had happened until somebody told him about it. Mr. fucking
3 weeks later or something.
Mr. fucking 9/11 on his hat, all patriot like. But yeah.
So he's playing the stereotypical, I'm an American soldier and I'm here to kill those bad brown people.
America.
But,
that's what I mean.
She doesn't believe it.
His character development is good because obviously you see him change to a different side with Salim. It's just to rank him, it's too little, too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that obviously my number 2 is different to everyone else's. I've actually gone for Jason as my number 2 because I think if you play him correctly, he has the best character development in the whole game out of everyone. Like he goes from some kind of solid marine to actually, do you know what? He's actually a human being.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked his arc of being a dickhead into, do you know what? He's actually a good guy. And at the end, when he's fighting for Salim, no, he's not a POW. He's a fucking marine.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what I was meaning about. I was like, he's got a great, his character development.
He does
great.
change quite a bit. Doesn't
it just comes too late to push him higher up my list.
Yeah.
Because number 2, I've got Nick as my number 2 because as much as he's not like, he doesn't have a great character development, there's nothing that Nick does throughout the whole game that makes you want to dislike him.
Well, that's the problem. He doesn't do anything good either.
True.
Like, he's
too basic, but at the same
Jacob
time,
from Mass Effect 2. He's just boring as fuck.
Yeah, true. You can't hate him, but you can't. I suppose you can see why you wouldn't have.
I like said on my solo playthrough, just such a moper, and I was like, shut the fuck
But then
up.
he does kind of get a raw.
Why would you talk to your husband?
He does kind of get a raw deal. Because...
I mean, they're literally down there fighting for their lives, trying to get rid of. Run away from these vampires. He's like, please don't break up with me, Rachel. Please.
Yeah.
Like,
I really think you should talk to Eric and tell him about us.
But that's
off with that's the life as you can.
That's the thing. He gets a raw deal because 1, he obviously had to kill the civilian for a start.
Yeah.
And then 2, everything's fine with him and Rachel. Everything's hunky dory. And then fucking Eric appears and fucking Rachel doesn't want to talk about it. It's like, oh, hold on, wait a minute. You can't be fucking giving me all the good shit while he's not here. And then he appears and you're like, oh, well, I don't know if it's the right time.
Maybe we should put it on ice right now.
It's like, fuck off, bitch. Fucking, either you're telling him what's happening or I'm going to fucking find some kind else. So I think he gets quite a raw deal throughout the game. So
I also feel like with Jason, it's very much, there's not very limited ways he dies. Like, I feel like he's one character very well protected. Like, unless you fuck up quick time events, reality is there's not really any options of him actually dying.
I don't remember Jason being in particularly dangerous scenarios.
Yeah, he's never really that point where he's like, oh, might will he die if I do this? No, unless you fail quick time events and fuck up, then he might die. Yeah. But in reality, there's no really any options or choices that make him thinking, oh, he might die here. Whereas the others, there's quite a few times that happens.
Yeah, I'd be interested, again, as I said earlier on, to see whether you can shoot him in the back of the head. In that very early scene, just because the whole game would be completely different then.
So who?
I imagine the gun would get stuck or something. What would happen? Yeah.
So who is your number 2, Ian and Jay?
Mine would be Rachel.
Rachel and Jay.
Salim.
And so my one, top of the list.
Hang on. Did you say Salim number 2, Jay?
Yes, it did.
What the fuck?
So my top of the list, which I think Pete's going to agree with, is Salim.
Yeah, mine's Salim as well, yeah.
Salim was definitely the best character, by far.
So, Jason was my number 1 until I played through solo and fell in love with Salim. I loved him so much.
Hello, Tyler. We've got a special guest.
Hello.
Special guest Tyler joins the show. Hi, Tyler.
Hi, Ty.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, I like Salim, but I found him a bit too... kind of like Nick, like you were saying, like it's a bit too mopey at times. Like, I just want to see my son. Yeah, but why don't you try not shooting Eric in the face?
18th birthday, god damn it, Jay. He's missing his son's 18th.
Try not shooting Eric in the face so I can keep everyone alive. You fuck man. So
who's number 1? So I missed
Jason.
Jason, okay.
Yeah, because of what we just talked about. Basically, I just liked his arc and his story, his character, and that. But obviously, the real number 1 is I've forgotten his name already. Merwin, there we go.
MVP Merwin.
Merwin. So he was the fucking man.
Yeah, I just googled it, and Jason could only die 4 different ways.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, really? Is that it?
Is one of those Salim shooting him in the back of the head?
So to begin with, Jason will die in the Subify chapter if you choose to help Salim and fail on the quick time event.
Oh, okay.
That's the first time he can die. Yeah.
Yeah.
On which chapter? Sorry, I missed that part.
Semper
That's
Fi.
the one in the first time you think where everything shits the fan and they're all in the middle bit where Rachel can get infected.
Yeah.
So you're
Oh,
quite
okay,
far
yeah,
into the
yeah.
game.
Yeah, so he goes a long way without having to worry about kicking the can.
So you can't shoot him with Salim then?
No, so someone must fuck up. I'd be tempted to see.
He must miss.
Yeah.
Gun jams.
Or the
That's
gun
what I'm
jams.
guessing.
Yeah.
Or he's out of ammo or something like that.
Yeah. And then obviously, it says next Jason will also be killed by Balafu during the Semper Fi chapter if you decide to support Salim. Complete the first quick time event and fail to evade Balafu's spear in another quick time event.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
yeah,
obviously
in that
it's
scene,
fucking
Rachel was, because I didn't get infected, she's the one that avoided the spear. So I imagine if she gets infected, then it's Jason that has to avoid the spear.
Other than that, the only other two ways are in the final battle.
Wow.
Whichever one can die there. Yeah, it's just
So,
I mean,
you were right.
it's
He's
just
pretty well protected.
I mean, he's not a great character because he's so protected. In reality, I think because they want to force you to get to the end scene where shit hits the fan, I imagine he's probably one of the characters that will always make it.
Saying that, it says Nick has the least amount of potential death scenes.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot with Nick trying to get killed either. That's the thing.
I suppose the main one.
I guess the main one would be the Vault one.
But he can't die. It says if you cannot complete the quick time event when you decide to approach the cocoons, he will die. So that sounds like the first time he can actually die. That's way into the game. So
right,
yeah, that's the Vault.
That's like near the very end.
Yeah, just like Jason, they're all near the end of the game.
Yeah, because that's the one where he's in the Vault, and when you go forward and you fuck up the quick time event, he can die there.
Yeah. We didn't really talk about the actual underground bit, did we? I know we said about planting the bombs and that, but
the music.
Yeah, so that
playing with the
fucking music was a pain in the ass. So you obviously you eventually find out that it's all basically aliens.
Yeah,
that are sort of manifested as vampires, and you go into an underground lair. There's whacking great cocoons with thousands of them, and then you take fucking hell. Why can't I never get their names the right way around? Nick, go down there, plant bombs and stuff.
Nick with a big dick.
And Mopey Nick, I call him from now on. And yeah, I thought that bit was pretty cool because it was really interesting to see.
I could slowly see something happening, but I didn't expect aliens in that massive cocoon in the middle. I thought, okay, this is different.
And they start blowing the shit out of everything. But then it was pretty cool down there. Lots of interesting stuff with the alien ship that crashed and stuff like that. Which again,
where did the elevator come from? Was that from the previous expedition?
That was from before.
Explorers, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, the excavators, whatever they were.
So there was there's like diaries and stuff you can find from explorers who were looking for these vampires.
Was it 50 years before they were?
Yeah, it was 49. So it was.
Yeah, it was during World War, was it not?
Yeah, it was 1949. I remember the year. And obviously the game was 2003.
Just before, just after World War II, then.
Yeah.
And then obviously you come back up. Eventually you escape the pit. And then you get to the safety of the shepherd's farm that you started in. And then they all look up to the sky. And it's an eclipse. And they go,
oh, fuck. You know what? I said the exact same thing when that happened. It's like, done. I put the controller and I was like, let's watch the end scene.
I thought
that happened.
I thought they did a fantastic job of like basically painting it. You've reached the end. Well done. Everybody survived. And then and then
because
they pop up and it's like, what the?
Because you're about to come up the rope and you can either have a fight with Clarice or Balafu, whoever it is. You get that one last kind of boss fight, if you will. Yeah. Oh, great! Pass it right. Clock the rope. Yeah, I'm clear. Oh,
exactly. They do like the fade to white, and they all come up and they're all chilling out, going, "Yeah, made it! I can't believe we survived." And then the eclipse is like, "Oh,
fuck's sake!"
So Rachel even said something. I was like, "Oh, fuck's sake!" She's like, "Oh, fuck's."
And then they all get in the house. The eclipse obviously sits over them, and all they've got to defend themselves basically is a knife or like a melee weapon.
But some bullets left on the flares, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then vampires pour into the house, and that's when you were saying, Ian and Ross, where it goes, you play as Nick, you play as and you just have to do a couple of quick times each. And I thought that scene was fucking awesome.
That was
only like the fact they come out one quick time event in that bit, but everyone still survived because I think someone got taken out, and then another guy comes and stops him. So
I think with that one,
it allows everybody gets up 1 or 2.
Yeah, everybody gets 2, and I think you can fuck up the first one, but as long as you hit the second one, they're all right.
You're good.
But I know Pete did. Did anybody else go back and play that scene and just try and kill everyone?
Not yet.
No, but I'm tempted to.
Yeah,
I'm definitely tempted to. Yeah, because Pete did it, didn't he?
Yeah, Pete, and I had to play Fluffy afterwards.
So So obviously everybody can die.
Yeah.
In that
Yeah.
scene. I'm assuming it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, pretty much. They get their eyes ripped out. They get head explosion. Yeah, it's all. I don't know
what happens. What happens?
I don't want to spoil that for you, because it doesn't take that long. But it's I just sat there and felt the quick time events, and it was
pretty messy.
Yeah, yeah. So, and at the end, when they're in the whole quarantine tent, you actually get to see their dead bodies.
Oh, nice.
Because obviously, there's the one where you obviously got to try and save Nick from being carried out, haven't you? And obviously, if you fail that one, he just gets taken up, and they just obviously the vampire drops him from that height, and so you get to see all the dead bodies like laying on the beds and how they died and stuff.
So now that we've got to the sort of end scene, if we're giving it out of 10, what are we thinking? Before we jump onto this, before we're jumping on the final cutscene,
the epilogue. Well, I think I might give it a 9.6 out of 10.
Whoa, back up. Back up. Just before we go any further, did anybody else notice in one of the cutscenes that the curator was in it?
Yeah. I noticed
showed
that.
me the picture,
Not just one, he's in many of them.
He's in a few.
What is it?
Yeah, he's in a few. What one did you see him in your one? Which one was your one you saw?
So,
I think it was the bit where it's the bit where there's the one solitary vampire and Salim and I think it's Nick.
Yeah, they're trying to sneak up on him,
You have to flank him, and it was at one of the points in that he's just standing there. And I was like, that's the fucking curator. What the fuck?
So
I never noticed him anywhere else.
You saw him there. I saw him in the same section, but once the vampire was dead, and when
I never killed the vampire.
You can tell Salim to hide, can't you? Or you can tell him to stay with you when the other guys turn up.
Yeah.
I told him to stay with me, and then as it panned round just before he shot Eric in the face, I don't know if I mentioned that, but he shot Eric in the face. Just before he shot him, he was standing behind him. And then later on, when Nick and Nick and Jason are trying to escape the underground lair, and Salim calls for help. If I chose for Jason to go and help him, and as it cut to Jason, he went, "I got to go for him. He's a Marine." In the corner, just a very brief glimpse. He's standing behind him there as well. Yeah.
Fuck, I missed that.
And I know there's obviously many more, but they're the only two that I actually caught.
So the one for me was the one where, because Merwin was dead, when Nick's trying to fix the radio, and they're cutting the kid vampires coming towards you, he's standing there in the corner.
Fuck, I missed that as well.
Whilst Nick's trying to repair the radio quickly, he's standing there. I'm like, quick, Nick, run away!
So normally he signifies that something's about to go down, doesn't he? But
I'm going to need to see that again.
Nick abandons the radio, and then that's when they run into the bit where everyone starts turning up again.
So there's also gone.
I was just going to say, so we've pretty much established who the curator is, haven't we?
He's the fucking man. That's who he is.
He's Pip Torrens.
Well, but we've established that he's Death, or the Grim Reaper, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Because there's the bit in the cutscene where obviously the lightning flashes.
He's like a warning, like a premonition, so something's bad can happen if you fuck up.
And then like half his face obviously turns to the skeleton.
The skeleton, yeah.
And I think he's. Did they not reference it? Was in Little Hope where it had been? It was like he had been called many names throughout the years and shit like that. And basically how he was like he had been about for sort of time immortal. He was like he's always been there.
He kind of lends himself to believe he's basically
death or something like that.
He's basically symbolizes something's bad going to happen.
Yeah, so I think like obviously because he gives a little bit more away in this one with how he talks about himself. But
that's something they're getting forward towards the next one, which is the devil one. I think maybe it could be the curator. That's maybe that.
So a nice segue onto it is one of the thoughts that I had about the next one and how it talks about being in the mind of obviously a serial killer or a psychopath. Do you feel that it's maybe the curator who has influenced all of these games? As in, it's him.
Well, I do feel like they put it all into one world, like the bit with Nick and Rachel at the Little Hope Cafe and the car crash.
So that's what I'm saying. Is it like is almost a better version of Final Destination, where it's he has put all of these events in motion?
I don't know, because I feel like he'll be there for the second.
It will be, but that's what I'm saying. So, but I'm not saying like you find that out in the next one. I'm saying like, is that the whole end goal, that this has all happened because he has had a hand in pointing the people that are in the story in
Could
this
be.
direction.
But then because you can alter it so much, he does say that, you know, excuse me, I'm just here to record your decisions.
What you do, yeah. And obviously he's got the candle, which symbolizes everyone's lives.
Yeah, I know. Has that been in every game?
No.
No, because I only recognised it for there, and and that's how I knew Rachel was still alive. Because the 5
it kind
candles,
of flickers, doesn't it?
It flickers a bit, and it doesn't go out. And I said at that time, Rachel's still alive. She's not dead yet.
Yeah, that's why I felt that symbolised that. I knew that.
I was like, well, how? I was like, because the candles there's 5 candles, and the 5 candles symbolate the 5 players. Yeah. And lo and behold, that seems to be what the consensus is.
Yeah.
So next one, what do we think for the next one? This one seems very Saw.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said on the podcast about it being a kind of a Saw type of game with people.
I'm getting like Saw, Hostel, that sort of vibe where it's like you're basically going to have to be stuck in an area and survive, but not because.
Have you watched any of the Saws? Has anyone watched?
Yes, I've watched all of them apart from the new ones with Chris Rock.
So which is I can't remember which Saw it is because I'm not very good with all the Saws. What's the Saw where there's 6 characters all in the same kind of area and they've got to go through different rooms and the last one is with the 2 and they got to get the blood?
4 or 5.
Idea.
Okay, I think that's going to get a similar concept to that where they've got to try and work together to get through different rooms.
That's the one where they first start and they're all chained up via the neck and there's guillotines at the back of them.
Yeah, exactly. And if they all just walked forward slowly,
if they all walk together at the same pace, they'd all reach the door. But if one runs, it pulls somebody else back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I
reckon they're going to similar concept to that one.
Yeah.
So whatever the sort that one is, I reckon it's going to be a similar concept that way. They're all got to try and work together.
Yeah, it gets to the end
it
gets to the end and they need like 6 pints of blood. And it's like, there's 2 people left. And they're like, well, somebody has to die. And it's like, well,
exactly.
if you had all survived, it would have been a pint each and nobody would have really noticed it. You'd have felt a wee bit groggy, but you'd have had a pint each and that would have been it. You'd have walked out.
Exactly. That's how the whole concept was, wasn't that? It was meant to work together because, like I said, when the bomb went off, the place they could stand in was enough for 2 people.
Yeah.
All that kind of thing. Yeah. So I reckon maybe they might go on that kind of. That's my kind of guess. Maybe they've got to try and work together against a villain.
Was there? I vaguely remember the trailer at this point. There was some sort of animatronic one there holding a cigarette.
Yeah.
Is that? I've only watched the first.
I'm presuming that's
something along those lines.
That's going to be very much like the puppet that's in Jigsaw. The one that's like
riding the bike.
Yeah, it's always on the video. Like I want to play a game. That's basically.
I hope they don't go down that route. But I mean, at the moment now they're very much gone for the Saw-esque.
Yeah, that one's going to be a very visceral horror. It's going to be a lot of decapitations or
a lot of body horror.
Yeah, I reckon they're going to ramp up the jump scares as well.
I don't
know because there wasn't really many in House of Ashes. I think there's only one.
That's what I mean. They've got to ramp it up.
That one in the blood. I did want to 2 more questions before we sort of wrap it up quickly. We said about the physical horror, as it were, like the actual monsters. Did you enjoy the monster design, or did you enjoy?
It was very traditional. Well,
it was pretty not basic, but
it was standard vampire
monster, wasn't it? Standard monster vampire. There was a few different kind of like what do you call it? Like different styles of vampire monsters that you felt, but
but it was still very basic. It was very much can't see very well. They work primarily on hearing.
And also the adrenaline in the person. They have to make them scared. Yeah,
I did think there was going to be a chance to maybe develop that. So like you maybe came face to face with one, and if you didn't react, it ran away, or it didn't kill you.
Then at the same time, if you're not scared of it, and you're just like, yeah, fuck you, that's still adrenaline. That's some kind of adrenaline still, isn't it?
But
it's
not
here's the question.
Just remain.
It's not fear. It's just a different type, isn't it?
So do you know, like, since Clarice got infected and so maybe Rachel gets infected, and if they stay normal, do they stay in their same human form like the old guy Balthazar did, whatever his name was? Or do they change and conform into the vampires?
You don't really. You see Clarice starts to change, and then she gets a bullet.
And Joey as well.
Yeah, she gets a bullet through the brain.
So why is the old guy from the first scene like human form? And the others aren't.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask.
Joey is. When Joey comes back,
so is Clarice when
he's still very much. He looks more like a half mummy, half vampire. Yeah. He's like his skin's started disappearing. like
Carice is as well. Like, but then do they turn into the vampire things, or do they stay the same?
No, I think the vampire things are a race, as in they were a race from space.
Because it's the little bugs, whatever they call the infections, the little infested things. They obviously invaded some kind of planet, and then they obviously crash landed on Earth.
Yeah, so
that vampire species is from another planet somewhere.
Yeah.
And
so they infect you and infect humans, and then humans stay alive by being underground.
But then you only saw 1 or 2 human zombies, didn't you?
I think the parasite is what makes them vampiric. Because obviously that's what changes between the two. So I don't think the alien race were vampires when they were on their planet. It was only when they became infected that they became vampiric. I think it's the actual parasite that causes the metamorphosis type idea.
Oh, okay.
What? Just a question, just to rewind it a little bit, just while we're on Joey. I don't know if you noticed, but there was this really cool bit that I loved in the game that I really appreciated. So at the start of the game, when you're walking around the camp, you hear Joey whistling. Hello.
Yes.
You hear it in.
And then later in the game, you hear it again, and you're like, I recognize that. Yeah. And then when they're going after Joey, like, that's the fucking whistle.
Yeah. That's the whistling I was telling you about, Jamie.
Yeah.
The constant whistling in the beginning of the game.
I didn't hear any of that.
No, I heard that. Yeah, I picked
constantly. For the start of the game, I kept hearing it. Then I heard it in the caves. It was like,
it's Joey
whistling.
He whistles in the camp.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's Joey that's doing the whistling. Yeah, makes sense now.
So, and I think that's how Jason thinks he's alive, because maybe he obviously hears him, but I think he also can hear the whistles.
He hears him shout, didn't he, at one point? He goes, it's Joey, man. It's like, how do you know it's Joey? He went, it's Joey. It must be Joey.
It must be Joey. It's the only one it could be. So now that we've wrapped up everything about the little video at the end, Jay, you said 9.6 for score?
I mean, I can't say anything other than the score I actually gave, I suppose. So
exactly.
9.6.
Pete, what would you say?
Without trying to give specific numbers, I'd give it an easy 9 out of 10.
Ian?
Yeah, I'll probably go with J, 9.6, 9.5.
I would
a
probably,
bit specific.
I'd probably go 9 as well, if I'm being honest. I wholeheartedly enjoyed it. So
because obviously I know we compare it to Man of Medan, but it's just like, because it's different. It's I think I don't know. I had to kind of explain it, but I think I almost prefer House of Ashes. I still really love Man of Medan.
Surprisingly, I prefer, even though I hated most of the characters in House of Ashes, they're better than the characters in Man of Medan.
I don't think the Man of Medan characters get a full chance to develop the same way that they do.
And that's what I mean. The Man of Medan, if Man of Medan was 2 hours longer, it'd be much better.
If Man of Medan was 2 hours longer, it would be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. It just needs more time for the characters to develop. And the fact that my first playthrough of mine, everyone died at the end because I was too good at the game. That really pissed me off, that did. So it was so good at the game, Man of Medan, and all the helicopter comes and says, they all survived, yes, get in. Fucking mowed down. I was like, what the fuck?
All that bloody effort, you fucking mow me down.
Exactly. Fuck, everyone dies. Great, cheers.
Well, happy days that we all enjoyed.
Speaking of characters, I remember the other thing I was going to ask. Did anybody notice that, I forget his name now, Salim's like captain?
Dan.
Yeah. Crazy guy.
Captain Dar.
Yeah, Captain Dar. And Nick looked very similar to characters from previous games. I don't know if they're the same actors.
See, I thought that. So you're right about Captain Dark, because he was
Captain Dark. He looks like the teacher from, and I don't know if that's intentional, or I don't know if that's just because he auditioned and got the role as well.
Oh, okay.
I meant to look up the actual actors to see if it is the same person. I think it might be. And then Nick looked very similar to
one of the guys from Man of Medan. The guy
from Man of Medan, the guy that was going to propose to his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I recognised Clarice, but I looked her up on obviously Googled her and whatever, and I couldn't find her anywhere else. But I really recognised Clarice from somewhere, but I just couldn't put my finger on it.
So I don't know if that's an intentional choice, or if that's just a coincidence, or if it's part of the creator basically developing these stories, and he's just using the same people, to try and
some supporting characters to kind of mess. Yeah.
I did like the little throwback to Little Hope. And it
was cool.
See, I didn't see that again because I don't know if I mentioned Eric got shot in the face. So why did you tell us about that very quickly before we go?
So basically, it explains why Eric's got a prosthetic limb. they're at the same cafe in Little Hope, and it's sort of like you see the cafe and then it pans all the way out to like.
Is that the one? Sorry, I only said the same. Is that the one at the beginning of the game where he sort of stops at his bus?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Before they go, yeah.
So obviously,
and right at the end of the game as well.
It pans out very Silent Hill-esque, so it like pans all the way out, and you've got the "Welcome to Little Hope" sign. Eric's sitting there with his feet up on the dashboard. Basically, they're talking about how much they're in love with each other and how much they'll never leave each other and blah, 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 blah. Rachel pulls out back onto the main road, which also fucking confused me. The semi-truck hits Rachel's side, Rachel gets no effects, Eric loses a leg. The fuck?
I mean, there's little hope in it.
So, yeah. So that was basically the flashback, but it referenced Little Hope, and I just sort of... That's what makes me think the curator's the one that's pulling all the strings.
Mm.
He's the one that seems to be...
See, the reason I think he isn't is because of you see the Puppet Master in the trailer for number 4. That's the only reason I think he's not.
But isn't Clarice also Taylor from Little Hope?
It could very well be, yeah.
I can't remember what Taylor looked like, but she might be.
Taylor was the girl with the short hair.
That might be why I recognise her.
I can recognise her.
But I said to Jay straight away. I was like, I swear, Clarice. I swear I know her from somewhere. And that's when you mentioned the school teacher.
Yeah. So again, there was definitely a good few characters that were looked very similar.
Yeah, Ross got
even though they weren't playing the same.
In fact,
yeah, it is. I'm looking at this picture now.
Yeah, looking at the picture, they're fucking identical. Yeah,
fucking is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're the one, and that's the main one I recognised. I was like, wait a minute, that's the only one I recognised at the begining. It's like, that's fucking Taylor from the middle one. That's the only one I remember of seeing. Was like, I remember saying, that's fucking.
I think I only played Little Hope through once with Jamie. I didn't play it again by myself, so obviously I didn't recognise the character as much. But
yeah, no, there's definitely a good few of them that are they are the same actors, whether they're the same because again,
or same character models but different actors.
Yeah, but yeah, that's something to keep an eye on when we come to Devil on Me. Yeah, next year, sometime. Yeah, I mean they've been pretty much every year. It
always seems to be Halloween, doesn't it?
Now the pandemic's over, they can get their ass to gear.
Yeah, I mean they only work down the road from us, so we could just pop down there and tell them fucking back their ideas up.
Yeah,
hurry up.
You know? Not for Ross, he's got to come fucking hundreds of miles, but we'll hand it for you, Ross. Don't worry.
Good man.
You know, go knock on their door. Hurry up! I want to play the next one. It does it very good, but so yeah, overall, very happy with it. Very good. Very much enjoyed.
No, 100%, definitely loved it. Yeah, really good.
Definitely. Can't wait
for the next one. Perfect length as well, like a good length for a couple of nights.
Yeah, I think it's almost the one that's also made me want to replay it the most as well. It's got a lot of replay.
I do want to replay it again.
Yeah, I'll probably do like a director's type idea with playing it online and have a look at it that way.
Yeah, definitely. And again,
try to see
one day we will do the in-person movie night mode with all 5 people and just take a turn.
This is what's the Jay. We need to get into one house, pick a character each, but we need to put it on the hardest mode so we all just die as quick as we can.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. We didn't shout that, did you? Do you all play it on just a default difficulty? Because this is the first one with a default with difficulties, isn't it?
Yeah, I had noticed that. I just left it not or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't change it. I know you can change it so you can't fail quick time events.
Yeah, so obviously me and Jay, we just put it on standard, didn't we? But when I put it on my own, I put it on easy mode. And you know, with the breathing QTs, you get like 2 jumps. There's only 1.
Oh, okay.
So I think maybe when you go to the hard mode, you probably have 3 or 4. You got to go because that last scene, obviously you wouldn't have seen it, Ross, because obviously you didn't do it. But when you're Nick, when you advance, like
oh god, there's like 4, isn't there?
It blends in with the background, so you're almost guessing as well as
yes, I had that.
To see.
I was like, what the fuck? I was like going through the screen.
I was like, I can't fucking see. I'm gonna miss it. Oh, did it.
See, now that we're just wrapping this up, I'm going downstairs to turn it back on to just do all these last little bits.
Yeah.
It's very good. I'll look forward to playing for it again. I think what we might do is wait until maybe next year,
and then give it a little
next, and then go through them all again, perhaps if time allows. Because
I'd
like to play Man and Medan and Little Hope. Little Hope not so much, but I want to play for it again because
I wanted Little Hope again. I really enjoyed it, even though some of the people characters were well end. I still think.
Yeah, I want to play Little Hope just so Jay doesn't kill the characters again.
I do think it's surprising because Little Hope is probably one of the worst ones, but they had the better characters. I think Whereas
I don't know.
I think more characters annoyed me in Man of Medan and House of Ashes.
I don't know. That shocking fucking British accent was enough to put me off.
In Little Hope, the enemy can change as well, because I think you can either have, depending on what you do at the start, either the woman's on fire or she's something else. From what I remember,
impaled. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is it impaled? No, because that's the guy that's impaled. It's on fire or something else. I know what you mean.
Yeah, she does get impaled, doesn't she? Because she either burns in the house or she falls
the guy gets impaled, doesn't he? Because he falls off the roof.
Oh no, strangled, isn't it? She gets strangled. She gets caught on a scarf or something.
Oh
yeah, because that's what happened with me. Like the first bit, like the mum died in the bathroom with smoke inhalation. The dad got crushed with all the pipes falling down. The lassie tried to jump out the window and hung herself on the scarf, and the other guy was burned alive.
Fell off the roof.
Yeah.
But yes. So overall,
conversation for another day.
Thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching. We've been Xbox Tavern. This has been Xpod Tavern. Special episode. SpoilerCast on House of Ashes. Thank you very much, Supermassive, for cracking out these games. They're fucking awesome. I love them.
We absolutely love it. It's amazing games. And we keep bringing them up.
I look forward to the season 1 finale. Devil on Me coming next year at some point.
And then we'll definitely be doing
Devil on Me coming sometime next year.
Yeah. I mean,
that's how we're ending this show.
Devil on Me.
That's way.
That's just a shout.
Devil is coming on me, right?
Yeah. Anyway,
if you haven't seen the trailer, go watch the trailer for Devil in Me. It looks awesome, and we shall reconvene on Sunday.
Yes.
At 8 p.m. on
8 p.m.
YouTube.com/Xbox Tavern Official. Go check it out. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Peace and love.
Thank you.